They told us we wouldn't get here. There were those who said that we would get here only over their dead bodies.
Well,
today I want to say to the people of America and the nations of the world, the beating and killing of our clergymen and young people will not discourage us. We're on the move now.
The harvest of disruption that we now see over the country is here because of seeds of inaction planted over the last several years.
And honesty impels me to admit that we got our gains over the last 12 years at bargain rates, so to speak. It's a kind of installment plan for equality. It didn't cost the nation anything to get the right to vote established. And now we are confronting issues that cannot be solved without costing the nation billions of dollars. And this is where we are getting the resistance, because there was never any intention to go this far. People were reacting to Bull Connor and to Jim Clark rather than acting in good faith for the realization of genuine equalities. It's much easier to integrate a lunch counter than it is to guarantee an annual income, for instance, to get rid of poverty for Negroes and all poor people. It's much easier to integrate a bus than it is to make genuine integration a reality and quality education a reality in our schools. It's much easier to integrate even a public park than it is to get rid of slums. And I think we are in a new era, a new phase of the struggle, where we have moved from a struggle for decency, which characterized our struggle for 10 or 12 years, to a struggle for genuine equality. And the other thing is that human beings cannot continue to do wrong without eventually rationalizing that wrong. And when white Americans tell the Negro to lift himself by his own bootstraps, they don't look over the legacy of slavery and segregation. I believe we ought to do all we can and seek to lift ourselves by our own bootstraps. But it's a cruel jest to say to a bootless man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps. And many Negroes, by the thousands and millions, have been left bootless as a result of all of these years of oppression and as a result of a society that deliberately made his color a stigma and something worthless and degrading.
Now, I don't mind telling you this morning that sometimes I feel discouraged. Yeah. I feel discouraged. Yeah. Yeah. Living every day under the threat of death, I feel discouraged sometimes.
That dream that I had that day has at many points turned into a nightmare. Now, I'm not one to lose hope. I keep on hoping. I still have faith in the future. But I've had to analyze many things over the last few years, and I would say over the last few months. I've gone through a lot of soul-searching and agonizing moments, and I've come to see that we have many more difficult days ahead, and some of the old optimism was a little superficial, and now it must be tempered with a solid realism. And I think the realistic fact is that we still have a long, long way to go. And I know we all have to battle with this constant drain of a feeling of nobodiness. But in spite of all this,
I refuse to accept despair as the final response to the ambiguities of history. I refuse to accept the view that mankind is so tragically bound to the starless midnight of racism and war. This faith can give us courage to face the uncertainties of the future. It will give our tired feet new strength as we continue our forward stride toward the city of freedom. We will know that we are living in the creative turmoil of a genuine civilization, struggling to be born.
There must be a revolution of values in our country. As Jimmy Baldwin said on one occasion, what advantage is there in being integrated into a burning house? Because some of the values that presently exist are certainly out of line with the values and the idealistic structure that brought our nation into being. Unfortunately, we haven't been true to these ideals, and many of the values of so-called white middle-class society are values that need to be reviewed and re-evaluated, and in a real sense, they need to be changed. There must be a restructuring of the architecture of our society where values are concerned.
But we must keep moving. We must keep going. If you can't fly, run. If you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl. But by all means, keep moving.